at the very beginning of 2012, that's when I went to do some crazy shows and also do my interview with Dave Grohl. And I said to Dave, I'm heartsick because my record is dead, basically. And I've been on tour all year and on every TV show known to man, and I've done 5,000 interviews, in person, phoners, you name it, I've done it. And I'm so disillusioned with the music business. And he said, did you film it? I said, yes, we did film it. It was the best year of my life. We filmed it. And he's like, is it done? And I'm like, no, it's not edited. It's edited down to 3 hours. But he said, go home, call Dave Stewart, and say, Dave, come here tomorrow. We have to talk about this. He said, put it out. Because it's the only way that In Your Dreams will get a second run for its money. And I did. I went home and I called Dave and I said, Dave, if we wait any longer, this whole thing's not going to be relevant. We're going to wait too long. It's going to be too long in between when we did it and the record, and 500 years later, we're going to put out this film. So Dave came up and we started, and we started probably in March, April, and we worked off and on all the way through the summer and into the fall, in there, with the two big editing screens. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I edited it with his editor,
so
Shane.
That was all done in this house too.
Yeah. So Shane and I and Karen, my assistant, we edited it from 3 hours to 1 hour 40, and that took like 5 months. Well, it was very hard to do.
It's fantastic, and I think, like you talk about the house being a character, Dave being a character, there are other characters too. I think the moment with Lindsay, when you talk about the piece that's made there,
absolutely.
Is that here?
That's here.
Was incredible. I mean,
that's him sitting right there, and me sitting right there, and that piano being over there. Left my girlfriend, packed up my stuff, loaded up my car, drove down.
When you talk about how things kind of stay in the air, you did so much in this house creatively. There's so much, it's so rich. You feel it when you walk in. It's thick with music. Do you think that endures? I mean, long after we're all gone, someone's going to be in this house in 50 years, 100 years. Do you feel like what you did still kind of lives in the walls here?
Absolutely.
What was it like? I know that a lot was written before you recorded it, but the fact that we see you in the documentary creating, you're going through the process. Did you find that, or do you think that it affected the performances, knowing that the cameras were going? I mean, did that make a difference in terms of what you've recorded? Because you're not normally videotape when you're recording. What did that do to the recording process for you, knowing you're on camera?
Well, the cameras really became very invisible because everybody was very subtle, and I liked everybody, I mean, at first it was just us filming and Dave filming, and then he brought in somebody who was really good with a not very big camera, with no lights. We never did any lights, and we never turned our lights up that are in the house. Because we had to retain our ambience, but now they have cameras, that can lighten it up. So knowing that, Dave said to me, darling, if you don't like it, we won't use it. And I'm like, okay, that's a promise, right? And he said, that's a promise. I said, you're not going to go sneak away and put something out without, he said, I'll never do it. I promise you. Will never be seen, ever, by anybody if you don't love it. So and at that point I said, okay, good. Then I picked out a uniform that I wore every day, and it looks like the whole movie was made in one day because I wear exactly the same thing. But it isn't exactly the same thing. It's 10 different tops that are exactly alike. And it's the same with stage. I have a uniform on stage. I had a uniform here. So I didn't have to think about because I said to him, it's such a commitment to film. We have to make it easy. If I just look awful, I'm not going to be happy. And he says, you're not going to look awful. He said, I said, well, I'm going to pick a uniform. I'm going to wear the same thing every day, and I'm just going to change jewelry. And then I'll just change earrings and jewelry. And he's like, okay, that's a cool idea. And I said, and you're going to remember that I am not 20. And he goes, yes, I am not 20 either. And I'm like, okay, and you're going to remember, and I know you know how to shoot women, because he does. Because he was really behind all the shooting of all those videos that the Eurythmics made.
Right.
You know, if Annie was out in the boat for Sweet Dreams and Dave was in the water filming her, somebody else was filming Dave and Annie, but it was all Dave's idea. And everything they did, really, from a style standpoint and from a musical standpoint, was kind of crazily in his head, which isn't to say that Annie Lennox wasn't, you know, equal 50%
Sure.
totally in there. But Dave, you know, Dave said to me, I suggested to her that she cut her hair off very short. And I'm like, well, that never would have worked with me. And he goes, well, I know, but I thought it was a look that might really be great because she could be very androgynous, and I thought, you know, and he said, and she did it. She cut off really long hair, gone. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm never going to do that. But I watched all those videos, and I said, so I know that you know how to film women. I know you have a very good eye, and you know to get all this, and you know to shoot from the right side. And I said, so I trust that you will film me and make me look good. And at least if not good, interesting. So that's all right. I'll accept interesting. But if I look like an old hag, I'm not going to be happy. So that won't make the movie. So he's like, you're never going to look like that. I will be sure. And he said, and when I bring somebody who's not necessarily better than me, but I'll be busy playing the guitar, and they will see you just as I see you. So I believed him.
Left my girlfriend, packed up my stuff, loaded up my car, drove down.
What you do with soldiers, obviously, you don't make a big show of it. You go do it because it means something to you. Talk about that, because I thought those images in the documentary and the way you describe it and what that means to you was really something that it just gives you great pause, because like you say, it's not political. It's just about
Right.
what you do. Describe what that feels like for you when you go visit these men and women.
Well, you can't have an opinion if you're going to walk through the doors of Walter Reed or Bethesda. All you can do is support what's happened. And it's not about the war at that point. It's just about it's just about the kids who came home from the war. And so you talk to them, you sit on their bed and you talk to them, and they tell you their stories, and you don't tell anybody. Yet another secret society. Mm-hmm. You don't tell anybody what they say. You can't. And they allowed us to take pictures for the families, because I had Karen who takes these amazing pictures. So I said, you know what, if you let her take photographs, then they'll have great pictures. If you take Polaroids, they'll be terrible and they'll never show them to anybody. So let's let them get a great picture as long as I'm here, you know.
Pictures
So
are
they
amazing.
trusted us. Pictures last forever. So they trusted us, and trusted us all through the 5 years that I went. I haven't been in a while, because Walter Reed and Bethesda merged.
Right.
And since they merged, it's a lot harder to go there. They used to really let me have the run of Walter Reed, and I was there till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And now, it's like, well, you can come for 2 hours, and I'm like, I can't do what I do in 2 hours. So I haven't really figured out a way to quite get myself into the two hospitals merging, because the Navy is a lot more strict than the Army, and so it's like Bethesda is a lot more strict than Walter Reed. So now that they're together, a lot more strings have to be pulled, and it's just harder. But the reason I wrote Soldier's Angel was that I knew that there would be a point where, I can continue to go and visit and sit and hold hands and listen to stories and try to do whatever I can do just as a person, and take them on an iPod with 937 songs on it. But I knew that if I wrote this song, Soldier's Angel, that would last forever. So when these 20-year-old kids or 18-year-old kids or 25-year-old kids or 30-year-old people have, lived another 15 years, they'll always have Soldier's Angel. And because of this little movie, they'll always have that 15-minute moment where they see me at the hospitals, and they see one of the soldiers, Vincent, who's in it, who just about got his head blown off, and who was not even ever coming back, and did come back, and you see him come back all through the segment of The Soldier's Angel part. And you see the kid that writes from Japan, and says, this music got me through the deployments, and it is not an easy task.
I think that's actually a little documentary within a documentary.
Within itself.
That story it's a standalone story. It's incredible. And
again,
it's
the same way with New Orleans. It's focus on, spotlight on Katrina and what it did to that town. And so I think those are the two moments in the film that are super poignant and raise above. It really isn't even about music. Those two are really about the incoming soldiers and about the effect that Katrina had on that city.
Left my girlfriend, packed up my stuff, loaded up my car, drove down.
The last thing is, can you imagine this concept of letting cameras in, of documenting your creative process, your life, what you do? Is it something you think you go back to and do again, or was this something you had to do once to sort of just achieve it, or does it open up other doors, do you think? Because again, the fact that you had footage in Italy, I thought that you incorporated that from your hotel room.
And I filmed that.
Was great, but that was a real intimate look, a little window of your life.
Right.
I don't know how much you tape when you travel, but is it something that you think down the line you may do more of to allow cameras, or just your own shooting, to sort of document your life and your special place in the world?
Well, if I ever decided to make another real album, like In Your Dreams, I would want to do it the same way. I couldn't do another album in this house, because this house has really been filmed. Every little nook and cranny of this house has been filmed, all upstairs, everywhere. So I think that we'd have to move to another house. But that's all right, because I am a creature of environment. So it's like I'm almost to the point now where I kind of need to go to another house. So I think that a new house will probably bring a whole new set of new ideas and new fun, exciting adventures, And I think that for me, I can, in a hotel, if I'm unhappy, I just move to another room. And I feel better. So that's kind of who I am. And so I think that's what will happen. I think, what I do will go on for another 6-7 years. And then I'll probably flip into art, because I draw. And I'm not going to say like I'm an artist, because it's not like I'm Van Gogh or anything, because I'm not. But I'm a good drawer. And I have a lot of beautiful drawings. And I think that I've kept them really away from the world. I would really like to start to show them to people. So it's like, that's kind of, I look forward to that. That's why my life is so insane, It's like I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have a boyfriend. I chose to be that way so I could follow this muse through, whether it was music or art or American Horror Story or whatever, and that nobody's going to be mad at me because I don't come home at 8 o'clock, or that I go to New York and I'm supposed to be home day after tomorrow, and I call back and say I won't be home for 3 weeks, and have somebody be angry. And I said that obviously I wasn't here I came here, as my mom used to say, you've always been on a mission. You've been on a music mission since you were in the 4th grade, and you started singing along to the Supremes, and declared to us that you were an R&B singer. Even though your granddad was a country western singer and devoted his life to trying to make it in the music business and failed miserably, you are an R&B singer in the 4th grade. And that was all you ever wanted to do, Stevie. It was all you wanted. So it's like, I just kind of walk down the street and wait for things to just come my way, I didn't ask for American Horror Story. I reached out to Glee, and through Glee came American Horror Story. But it's like, this is my little dog. This is Sulamith, and this is her house, actually. She's 87 years old.
Sweet.
Hi, I'm blind and I'm deaf. Oh. But I'm very, very smart and pretty. And she's in the movie a lot.
Oh, I know.
She has
another
a big part,
character,
yes.
Another character in the play.
She's another star. So, I just kind of wait for that next big thing to happen. And I don't worry about it, really, because Dave Stewart has taught me that adventures are just waiting right there around the corner. When he said he stepped on a bracelet, and then he went straight to the pawn shop and bought the, And then he walked by a restaurant and saw absolutely drop-dead gorgeous Annie Lennox standing in there taking an order. It's like he goes, you know, you turn your head that way and there's your adventure waiting
As long
for you.
as you're open to it, you know.
Yeah.